Hello and welcome back to the Maccas Talk Hockey Podcast, the podcast where me and my brother Charlie talk about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL, and it is just back like the old days. It's me and you, Charlie, today. It's been I can't remember the last time it was just me and you.
Yeah, it has been a while. Apologies for anyone who can hear a fan. It's too hot for me to do a podcast without one, so
I
you can
don't
deal
think we
with the
can hear
noise.
it actually. It should be
But
all right.
yeah, it's been a while since we've done a pod like this.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've had no hockey. So
Yes.
yeah, I've quite enjoyed it, to be honest. I've quite enjoyed a little break.
Oh, I've missed it. I'm not gonna lie. We've had the World Championships going on, and GB actually just lost 5-2 to Norway, which I think means that they're
We're
gonna
out. Yeah, we're
yeah
down to
finish
Group One
bottom.
B.
Because other teams like Austria, Norway, they've done quite well. So fair play to them. But we're here to talk about the National League because this has been a crazy week. There's been a lot of big news, a lot of debates, specifically import goalkeepers,
Yeah,
which me and
baby.
Charlie would love to discuss and debate. I'm going to give some opposing views as well, in hindsight. Not that I believe them, but yeah, there's so many to talk about. So many players leaving, so many players re-signing. So yeah, Charlie, have you got anything else to add to that before we crack into it?
I was gonna put a juicy quote tweet to Liam Stewart's tweet last night, but I thought I'd
Oh,
save it for the podcast and
okay.
say what I think on import goalies.
Yeah. Well, screw it. We'll start on it. The big news from this week: Peterborough Phantoms. We spoke about it last week. I don't think you were here, Charlie, but Peterborough Phantoms have signed an import goalkeeper. The first import goalkeeper since. Well, B signed one, but it didn't actually go through. It didn't work out. So we haven't had one since the EPL days. So the first one, and there's been some controversy online. There has been some controversy online. His name is Hayden Levinga, if I've pronounced that right. He has played in England before, so it isn't the first time. He played in the Elite League 2 years ago, where he played 18 games for the Manchester Storm, and he got a .886 save percentage, which is it's not too bad, but it's a backup net minding percentage, isn't it, Charlie?
Well, it's not great, but the guy's played in the NCAA and now he's coming to the National League.
Yeah.
That's no mess about, and I think it's a great test for the British netminders to prove their worth to elite league teams. And I think it was needed for Peterborough. Peterborough Phantoms. Brooklyn Nordstrom's not an import this year, which I found out, which is big for Peterborough because it means that they have. Well, I'd assume I don't know, but I'd assume they're going to sign Slavkovsky back. But it means they've got an import slot open. At least one. Don't know what Padalec's doing, but yeah, an import goalie was needed because there's not many Brit netminders who can win you big games in the market right now. If you look at it, you got Norton, and to be honest, I think the arrows are pointing to one team with him, and I
Yeah.
think most likely he'll be
We'll go
signing.
we'll go into him in a bit.
He'll most likely be signing for the Steel Dogs. I think the arrows are pointing that direction. I think the Bees have got their goalie. Bristol, they don't have a goalie. And then you've got Adam Long, maybe, who's the other one, who hasn't played a starting role since the EPIHL days. So there's no starters in the league who are British who are going to be even close to the level of Jordan Marr, in my opinion. So if you want to have a goalie who can win you games single handedly and make them big moment saves, you've got to go the import route. And I think
Yeah.
it was the right route for the Peterborough Phantoms. I do.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into the debates in a second, but as you said, Charlie, Ivan Bjorkley Nordstrom is apparently not going to be classed as an import for next season. Now, is that because he trained in the UK?
I know
Um,
he's got a Scottish accent. I
yeah,
don't
he
know if
has.
you've
I
ever
think
heard of
he's
him.
part Scottish actually. So I know he counted as a European import last season, but I think he's got a bit of Scottish within his family.
Yeah.
That is absolutely huge. I think towards the back end of the season and in playoffs, he was a massive part of
In
that
Peterborough
playoff
playoff,
team.
he was
Um,
huge.
he showed how good of a player he is, and if he's classed as a Brit, he automatically goes into, for me, the top in that top 10 category of British forwards or British players in the league because he's an import slot, and if he's not even going to be an import slot, like not counting as a Brit, that you go on any top six in the whole league, and I think
Um,
that's huge for Peterborough. Go on,
yeah.
Charlie.
He got a point a game at the National League level. He's only 21 years old.
Yeah, that's the big one for
He'll be
me.
22 to start the season. He actually, as you can see, I can't see all of his youth stats, but it says that he played for under 11 Scotland.
Okay.
So he definitely was in the UK and trained back then. He's a very talented player. I personally wouldn't put him in the top 10 forwards, British forwards, but I think he's in that kind of like top bracket who gets in your top six. Crucial piece to have. And I think Peterborough were clever. I think Slava knew what he was doing when he was signing him last year as an import. I think he knew this boy's being a Brit soon. And yeah, I think the Slava plan is coming into place. And I think that's huge news for them. As you can see, they've got Nordstrom, Luke Ferrara, Jarvis Hunt, Austin Mitchell-King, Brad Barring, Callum Douglas, Billy Thorpe, and Laveng, the new goalie. So they've only got one import, and they've already got 4 very good Brit forwards and 3 very good Brit Ds. So the Brit core for Peterborough is already looking very strong.
It is. It is. Just I thought I'd quickly say actually, this is the first Canadian import Peterborough have signed for a long time as well. Last week we discussed will Slava just go with the Europeans? He is Canadian, and I know it's a bit different because he is a goalkeeper, and Slava likes his European forwards and defensemen, but he is a Canadian goalkeeper. Charlie, on that British point, I still do think there is a lot of people to cover for this season. Sirasenis is not going to be playing; he's banned. Susters isn't going to be playing, so it's a whole season without Susters. We assume anyway. He hasn't been signed. And then you've also got Spears. I'm not sure when he's going to be coming back off of his injury. So I still, as much as Bjorkley Nordstrom is now going to be a Brit, will they even have a third import?
I'll say it. I'm going to put a prediction out there. I don't know anything, but I said this to you very early on in the season last year when Sheffield had the new ownership come in. Peterborough Phantoms, other 2 imports are going to be Slavkovsky and Vlad from Sheffield. I said it a long time ago, and I still believe it. I think he'd be the perfect signing for the Peterborough Phantoms. He would get them a point a game around that area. He'd bring in depth. For me, he seems like more of a budget import, and I think Peterborough are going to still. Broughton Nordstrom's going to be on a decent salary. I don't know salaries, but I think a good budget import who knows the league to go along with Slavkovsky, Bjorkley Nordstrom. I think Vlad from Sheffield would be the perfect import signing to be their third import for their core.
Yeah, I know you've said that for a while. I personally think you can get better. No disrespect to Vlad. He's been really good for Sheffield and filling in for Sheffield. But as you said, those budget imports, and he could sign for Peterborough. He could prove me wrong. We've seen it with Slavkovsky.
I think he'd do phenomenal at Peterborough.
We've seen it with Slavkovsky where he was at the Raiders. His point production probably wasn't among those top imports, but Slavkovsky come into Peterborough and he's been a phenomenon for them. And again, he was another massive part why they won the playoffs this year and have won trophies. So there's no reason why Slava couldn't do that with Vlad. But I don't know. We don't know about Padelec.
The year before, 61 in 52. I think he'd be the type of import which would thrive. I don't know. Maybe Padelec signs again though. That could definitely be something.
Yeah. Oh, and Weldon as well. We forgot they need to replace Weldon, who's as much as he's maybe not like this elite point scoring player. He's still a big player they need to replace in terms of the dressing room and a leader in that dressing room. So yeah, it'll be interesting for Peterborough, but. The first import goalie. Now, I did actually put a poll out on the Macca's Talk Hockey Instagram on whether the people agree with having import goalkeepers in the league. And I can actually say live here now that 72% of fans on our Instagram have voted that there should be allowed import goalkeepers in the league. 28% of fans and a couple of players in there. There are a couple of players. I'm not going to name them, but there are a few players on there. There are quite a few players on there. Charlie, you can have a little look as well, which have voted that got import goalkeepers should be in the league. Now, Charlie, you mentioned it earlier. Do you want to bring that up now?
Okay, so I wanted to make
Liam
a big
Stewart's tweet.
I wanted to make a big point on import goalies because I understand Liam Stewart's
So I'll get the tweet up while you explain.
I understand Liam Stewart's tweet. I completely respect it as well. on the fact that you don't want to bring in import goalies to the league because every single team in the league is going to go to them. And that genuinely could be the case. If this import goalie, he's the first, there is still a team in Bristol who could potentially sign one because they haven't got their second goalie signed up yet, their starter. But he's the first import goalie to come in from Canada. And we don't know how good he's going to be. And it's going to be very interesting to test that. So it could be that import goalies take over the league. But my point is, and I do believe this, to be able to compete for trophies and win trophies, you need a goalie who's going to be able to steal you games. He has to. If you look at Jordan Marr in playoffs, he stole Peterborough the playoffs at times. Look at Sam Gospel. He steals Leeds games. Headley, Rennie Marr. But there's only so many goalies in the league who do that. For me, there's about 6. I'd say Jordan Headley, Rennie Marr, Sam Gospel, Jordan Marr. Am I missing any here?
Zamodra has done it.
Brad Day and Zamodra. I don't know any other goalies who have won trophies yet.
Yeah.
They're the 6 goalies who have won trophies. And I've seen other goalies in the league and they're very good, but they're not quite that top tier goalie. And if you're a lower end team who needs to win games, and you may have, for example, and I think he's a good talent, Harrison Walker is your starter.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big struggle for you. And I think it's going to cost you a lot of games where if you maybe had Jordan Headley, one of the better goalies in the league, you'd win quite a few more games. And having that import netminder for maybe some of the lower end teams or the lower budget teams can be the difference between getting in playoffs and not, or winning a trophy and not winning a trophy. And for me, if you want to get fans through the door and you want to win games, you need an import netminder sometimes if the netminders aren't available. And I think Peterborough needed an import netminder because let's say they brought in Harrison Walker as their starter. I don't think he's going to have that same effect Jordan Marr had.
It's an interesting debate, isn't it? And there's been debates in the Elite League for this exact point as well about the Elite League's just taking up these import goalkeepers and these younger goalies who maybe could be given a chance are not being given a chance. Now, Liam Stewart's tweet was, sad day for British netminding. Peterborough signing an import goalie only leads to a few other teams doing it. And we did say that maybe a couple other teams in the league might do this. Nothing against the signing or Peterborough here, but that only leads to Brit goalies sitting on the bench 85% of the time. Hope it doesn't end up that way. Now, we saw in the EPL with 5 imports, and you saw Milton Keynes. They had Odd Robney, you had Herdolowski for Basingstoke, and they won trophies. And this is what Charlie's saying. Now, I guess the big debate is, and to counteract what you've just said, Charlie, how is the goalkeepers like Harrison Walker, like Ben Norton, like Brithen Priest, who haven't had that experience of winning trophies because they're still so young, how are they going to improve to the level where in the 2-3 years they are going to be starting goalkeepers in this league? And I guess that's the big counter argument to what you've just said. But I agree, it's so cutthroat now that you want those top goalkeepers so you can guarantee those playoff spots, so you can try and win those trophies. And you look at the top 6, as you just said, Swindon, Leeds, MK, they've all got their goalkeepers narrowed and locked in. So it is a very, very big debate. I guess to counter that though, Charlie, if I don't know, I really don't know. As we said, Bristol haven't signed a goalkeeper apart from Tyler Labouche. Now, no disrespect to Tyler Labouche. He's, 19 years old? And we saw what happened with Ben Norton last season. When you rely on a 19-year-old goalkeeper, they may be talented, but they haven't got the experience for this league. And I think that is what Peterborough needed. Slava knows that you need an experienced goalkeeper, and they've obviously gone with the import netminder. So, yeah, I disagree with Stuart, but then I also agree in terms of the development of English goalkeepers that it kind of stops them a tiny bit. The one point I will make against Liam Stewart, and why a couple of forwards and some of the best forwards in the league have voted why import netminders should be in this league, and that is on our poll. As I said, I'm not going to bait them out, but the level of forwards in our league is very, very, very high compared to the defensemen in this league. You've got a lot more talented or a lot more output like forwards compared to the D-men. Now, I don't know why that is. I think it's just purely because there's a lot more players wanting to become forwards, so the level of them is going to be more. And I guess, Charlie, having
Yeah.
those import netminders is going to challenge those forwards even more to improve themselves and also to keep those teams in it. So do you get what
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Charlie?
I agree. I was just looking up some stats. In the Elite League, you have 11 goalies who have over a 9 save percentage, a 90 save percentage.
Yeah.
In our league, you have 4 goalies with over a 90 save percentage.
Yeah.
And for the forwards to get better in positions and to make it harder for teams, you need your goalie to be a backstop. And it's about finding the balance between developing young Brit goalies and at the same time not killing, but not sacrificing the quality of the league to let goalies who aren't good enough to play in the league.
Yeah.
So it's finding the balance, and it's very difficult. And there's not a wrong or right answer. For me, I think for the lower end teams, potentially on a lower budget, I think import goalies were the way to go. And back in the EPL days, I think there were 3 or 4 Brit starters and the rest were imports. And it definitely could go that way again. But the goalie standard for some teams does need to improve. Like there were teams this year who struggled because their goalie was not on the same level as Jordan Headley, Sam Gospel, Brad Day. And if you don't have a goalie of that quality, it is going to be very difficult to win big things. And if you look at Coventry, Talford, Brad Day, Leeds, Sam Gospel, Phantoms, Jordan Marr, and who did Peterborough play? Oh, Swindon, Rennie Marr. That's like 4 of the top 6 goalies in the league, and it's not a coincidence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing I will say again, which is going to counteract it, who's the GB goalkeeper now? It's Jackson Whistle.
And, Jackson Whistle.
And Jackson Whistle wasn't the starter, it was Ben Bounds. And Jackson Whistle, if you look at the games played this season, I know Jackson Whistle, is he part Canadian?
Yeah, but
he is, but he's pretty much a British goalkeeper in our league. He's been playing in Britain. He got given an opportunity with Belfast, and he's now established himself as the top GB goalkeeper. So I think if you're going to get these top goalkeepers, there's got to be moments in the league where these younger goalkeepers do get chances. But it's just about, again, it's about the coaches. It's about whether those coaches are going to give the second choice keeper a chance. You look at Headley, he got injured. Curlin then got a chance and he took that chance. And that's why Curlin signed again, because he's been given opportunities. So there's so many debates. We could argue and talk about this for so long.
I think the thing is, while the import level's at 3 and imports are so valuable to teams, I'd be surprised if quite a few teams, for example, Swindon, Leeds, MK, the teams with the top Brit goalies, they wouldn't get an import goalie. It's not worth their import slot when you can get a forward who gets 60 points.
Yeah.
If we see the National League in 3-4 years' time go up to 4 imports, 5 imports, if you start to hit the 5 and 4 import mark, you probably do see half the league go for the import goalie.
Yeah.
Because you can get the Brit forwards and the Brit D-men to bring in who can help fill that role. You saw it with import D-men this year. It's the first year we've had import D-men in our league. Why? Yeah. Because we needed to upgrade the quality of D-men in our league. Because the D was not competing with the forwards. And so, I just do hope, and I do agree with Liam Stewart in part of the tweet, I don't hope that in 3 seasons' time, 85% of the starts in our league are import goalies. I do want to see British goalies thrive. But at the same time, I don't want to cut the quality of our league because there's starters who struggle.
I don't want to blow Swindon's tyres, but I think they went around the Rennie Marr situation quite well. I think they signed Rennie and we've stuck with him, and he's turned into one of the better goalkeepers in this league. And he's won trophies with Swindon, and we started him at such a young age. So again, it's dependent on the team, dependent on the coach, dependent on the circumstance where Peterborough do need a top goalkeeper to carry on and try and win trophies, because we know they can. And they're hoping that this Hayden Levin guy can do it. And I cannot wait to see what the level is. And Charlie, you put in our group chat, what was your unpopular opinion?
I think Sam Gospel will be better than the import goalie. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I think Sam Gospel will end with a high save percentage and a better stats. But he is playing under a Slava team who are gonna defend him hard.
It's interesting because it depends on the team as well. I think Hayden could be the better goalkeeper, but because Gospel is arguably in a better league team, they Sam Gospel might get a higher percentage, but I guess it's on the eye as well. I can't wait to see what he's like. If there is any Elite League fans who's watching who knows about Hayden and what he's like, but the one thing I'll end it with, because we have got loads more signings to talk about. Pardon me, I have got hay fever as well, so sorry if I sniffle a bit. He only played Hayden only played 4 games last season for the Thunderbirds. Charlie, do you think that's going to have effect? He's only played 4 games in the whole of last season. Now, I have no doubts he's probably been training, but he's now going to come into a Peterborough team where, if you'd assume he plays at least 40 games.
He'll be fine.
You reckon?
He's American NCAA boy. He'll be fine. Goalies adapt, don't they? He'll learn. He's going to come into this league. I think he'll struggle in the first 10 games a bit. I think he'll be finding his feet, but once his feet have been found, I think he'll win Peterborough a lot of games.
We have seen though. Sorry, we're going on a bit, but the last thing I'll end it with, I promise, is the last one. We have seen it where the goalkeeper imports haven't worked out as well. I remember the whole goalkeeper which they signed. He looked like such a good goalkeeper on paper, and he just couldn't deal with the English league. So yeah, there is such a debate to be had. Let us know in the comments. Debate in the comments. I'm sure we'll do a social media post on it as well. But yeah, Peterborough have gone with the import goalkeeper, and it'd be interesting to see if other teams do as well. Charlie, you mentioned it earlier. Ben Norton left Bristol. He obviously played a lot of games for his age in this National League. He's left Bristol. Now, we can only assume he is probably going to go to Sheffield with the new system, getting that two-way with Sheffield Steelers, getting to train with some of the Steelers now and again, being one of the goalkeepers at Sheffield. It hasn't been announced, but he's left Bristol, and that leaves Bristol with a goalkeeper slot, and they signed Tyler LaBouche, who we mentioned last weekend, I think, or last week. Ben Norton, do you think it will be a big loss for Bristol?
Depends who they replace him with. Depends
Yeah.
if they go for an import or a Brit. If they go for a Brit, I think I don't think you're gonna at the moment find a Brit as good as Ben Norton in the league. If they go for an import, they could upgrade him.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do think it is a loss. He was a good goalie. He's going to develop, and Bristol seem to lose a lot of players. So
Yeah.
it's always tough when you swap the squad around a massive amount every single season.
Well, you talk about players leaving Bristol. Adam Hardin, he has left the Bristol Pitbulls and he has joined the Telford Tigers. I don't know if a lot of people had that on their bingo card before the start of the season. Obviously, Adam had a tough injury, which he was getting over the past couple seasons. But Charlie did get 44 points. That is a valuable British slot, and he's going to be leaving Bristol. And again, that's a really nice little ad for Telford.
Yeah, it's a good ad for Telford. I think sometimes last season, I think Telford missed a bit of scoring in some games. When Sutton and Peckham weren't quite as on point as they were near the end of the year, I think they missed some scoring, and I think Adam Hardin is a good top 6 piece, potentially a third line for Telford. We'll see, but I think he adds a good element to that Telford team.
Yeah. But they have actually, before we go on to who they've signed, they've let Jay Warren go. That's an interesting one. He was signed on a 2-year deal with Bristol. That's obviously been cut short. I've seen a lot of people taking the mick because he is a bit of a rat. For me, I still do think he could have a place in this league. You look at 2 seasons ago in his first season, Charlie, he got 30 points. That I know this quality, it was 2 imports, so the quality wasn't as high as last season, and he didn't have as much points last season, but a 30-point player, could you see him possibly going somewhere else if he focuses on what he was actually quite good at, where he's a pain in front of the net, not being too ratty?
Yeah, I think he's got to calm down on the rattiness, because I think he was just getting a reputation for himself of being a bit of a mug. So yeah, I think just calm down, focus on the hockey, potentially spend a season in the National One League, potentially go up, stay in the National League. But yeah, I think Bristol are trying to find something new, and I guess he wasn't a part of Barry McKenzie's plans.
Yeah, well, we've seen, well, a lot of people are leaving Bristol, and Barry has got a tough job. I will say that. I know when we talked about it when he signed, he has got a very tough job. I'm interested to see who brings in, but someone he has brought in, and it's got announced half an hour ago, is Cam Hamill. Now he was announced that he'd leave Milton Keynes Lightning, and he has joined the Bristol Pitbulls. Now I assume that is to get a bit more ice time. I think he could get like a top three line in Bristol if they don't really sign any more players. So a good opportunity for him, I guess, to progress in his career, Charlie.
He's going to get consistent minutes. I think he'll get the crowd going at Bristol.
Yeah.
To drop the gloves. I think he's a good third line piece for Bristol Pitbulls. If that's where they choose to play him.
Yeah.
And I think, he needs to spend a full season at a team where he gets consistent minutes, because at Hull he played half a year, and then at MK he got scratched some games and played fourth line. I think you just need consistent third line minutes and establish himself as a good third liner in the National League, and a pain in the arse as well, which he's very good at. He likes to fight, he likes to get the fans going, and I think the Bristol do need a player like that who gets the fans going.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you, Bristol, for announcing the signing in time for the pod.
Yeah, well, I did message that. Could you do it at 6 o'clock? And they did do it. So nice one. That is all for Bristol. Let's move on to Telford then, because there was an outgoing, and there was a couple of ingoings. I know we mentioned one, an outgoing, and this is quite a big one, but I think we did see it coming. Hazeldine has left Telford and he has joined Coventry on a full-time contract, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on a two-way again if the Elite League teams don't give him time. I think he should be given a whole season. You've seen it with Reece Kelly at Glasgow, and I've heard a lot of good things from Glasgow fans. I think Archie Hazeldine was too good for this league for me.
Archie Hazeldine's a phenomenal talent. Really, really good hockey player. Very calm on a. He's just very good at a lot of things for a D man. He's a huge asset for that Telford team. Will be a big loss. I'm sure they'll be looking to replace him in the D department, but I really hope he does establish himself in the Elite League. And he signed a 2-year contract there as well. So, for me, if you're signing a 2-year contract somewhere, I'd like to think they'll actually give you the decency to play you.
Yeah, I think he's got the build for the Elite League. He's a tall D man. He's strong. He can dribble out of, or I say dribble. He can stick handle out of the D zone and get into that forward zone. He was on the power play for Telford as well. He knows how to find the net. He's got a really good shot as well. I think he could do well in the Elite League. I really do, and I'm actually glad he's not signed for a team in our league, because I know it wouldn't have been Swindon, and there was a few rumours that he could have signed for Leeds. And I hope that doesn't happen as a Swindon fan's point of view, because we want to be catching up for them. And if they had someone like Hazeldine, boy, that would be tough. However, they did have some good news. Finley Howes, a 2-year deal with Telford. They obviously signed Brad Day on a 2-year. They signed Mitchell King on a 2-year. Finley Howes on a 2-year deal. That is really good business, isn't it? He is one of the top young players in this league. In fact, he is. He is.
Yeah, he's very, very good. He's probably Telford's best forward this year. And getting him on 2 years. Local lad, loves the club. There's not much more you can say. It's that piece everyone wants, is the local Brit who scores you stack load of points.
They are honestly so valuable. The Brits in this league are so valuable. I did miss out one, and this is actually quite big. Obviously, we mentioned Hardin. That is going to be another big one for Telford. I think one of the reasons they've signed Hardin is because, did you just say it? Jesse Sutton has left the Telford Tigers, and I think he is a centreman, and Hardin's a centreman as now. I don't know if that has a difference, but you'd assume Hardin wants to play in the top 6 role again, because he is a really good player. Jesse Sutton has left Telford, and Charlie, he listens to the pod, or he listened to it with Pekka throughout the season, and he just got better and better as the season went on. And obviously Telford, they were unlucky with the call in playoffs, but he definitely made a name for himself in that playoff campaign and helping Telford get to Coventry, which a lot of people, apart from you, did not predict.
Jesse Sutton's cool. He's a good guy, good hockey player. I've always said this, imports are replaceable. Not saying they're not good, but there is enough Canadians who are willing to come out to the UK out there who are going to be good at hockey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they'll be looking to probably. I think Telford are going to get an import D in this year. I
Ooh.
think bringing Adam Harden in could have been that top six piece, which means they potentially go down the import D route, losing Archie Hazeldine. But yeah, they've got three import slots left. Will Pecker fill up one? Will Luca fill up one? These questions will be answered.
There's a couple players getting on a bit, isn't there? So you got Rose, who's been around in this league for a long time. He suffered a big injury, didn't he? So it kind of slowed him down. You've got Mackenzie. He's pushing 40, or is he 40 now, Charlie? I can't remember, but he's doing some coaching as well. How long's he got left? Luca as well. He's getting quite old as an import in this league. I think there could be even more movement in Telford. We'll have to see in the next few weeks. But yeah, looking good though. They've signed a couple of their key players, a couple of key Brit players, which I think will be quite big for them to keep going next season and push on because they did have quite an up and down season, Telford. So yeah, that is all the Telford news. Which team shall we go for next? Let's go for Hull because they've had a few re-signings, and I think they're some quite positive ones. And it is three youngsters, starting with Reese Edwards. As I mentioned on our Twitter, that goal he scored, that's one of my favourite. Just absolutely smashes it into the top right corner for your first National League goal. And he has signed a deal. He's only 17 years old, Charlie, and his shot for a 17-year-old, they seem to have quite a lot of them, don't they? Owen, who we'll mention in a sec, but he's got a very good shot for his age.
Yeah, he looks like he's a good talent. Good to keep him in Hull. And I'm sure he'll have a good season of development.
Yeah, we know what Hull have been like. They've been giving players chances, and yeah, I'm sure Matty Davies will give him a lot more shifts than he did last season as well. And yeah, another Brit who signed for them on I think it's his fourth season or third season. Owen Bratton. He's obviously we've had him on the podcast. He's only 18 years old, but he is very, very mature for his age. You wouldn't think he's 18 years old, and he has improved, Charlie, every single season on his points tally. But that is another example of a young player who's been given the opportunities by their coach.
Yeah, he actually had signed a 2 year deal. Hull just announced it to be like, oh yeah, he's still doing his
Ah,
second
there we
year.
go. Yeah.
But yeah, he's very good talent, very good youngster. And I think he'll be a Hull legend.
Really?
I think
You
he'll be there
you
a
putting it out
lot.
there?
Yeah, I don't see where else he's gonna go. He seems like he loves it.
Yeah, well, looking at his points, obviously his first season, he played with the Jets but mostly with the Seahawks. He got 11 points. Then last season he got 18 points. So he's going to be looking to improve that. 8 goals his first season, 10 the next season. So I'm sure he's going to be able to improve more and more. And obviously he's being picked for the GB under 20s team now, which is really good for him. And the final one to Hull, who I had a bit of a doo-doo with last time, trying to remember which one, is Danskin. And he signed another contract with Hull. Again, another young. Oh, sorry, I'm getting messed up. Danskin signed one with Solway. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. He used to play for Hull. He signed with Solway. Solway have a lot of young players. We'll go on to that because I don't think Hull have any more. But Danskin, another young player, he seemed to find his home at Solway, hasn't he, Charlie?
Yeah, I don't think Danskin's too young, but yeah, Danskin's a good little player.
Let me have a look.
Solid D man. I'm getting him up now. Liam Danskin is 23, so
Yeah, that is quite young still.
but yeah, Liam Danskin, decent D man. Joined Solway midway through last year, and he'll be back there again.
Yeah. Sorry, so I get the Solway D men confused because they've got Stenton, they've got Danskin, and who's the other one they've got? Stenton, Danskin, and who?
LBT.
Kel Beatty. Yeah, so they've got three different ones, and I always get them confused. That is the only one for Solway, though. Should we move on to a bit of negativity news? And that is the Raiders. We don't really know what's going on with them at the moment. Their head coach has left, Sean Easton. Their captain has left, Connolly. And on the rumours accounts, there's been a lot of rumours of more players from their team leaving. Charlie, did this come as a bit of a shock for you? I know there was a few rumblings of people saying it's not looking good at Raiders at the moment, but Sean Easton leaving. He's been around there for a long time. He's been around all the youth teams and the and obviously their main team as well. It's not really positive at the moment, is it?
I didn't really expect them to lose so many players so quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's the final one. So yeah, it's not great. they
Yeah.
you're not replacing Brits like Connolly. You
No.
don't replace Brits like that in this league. And who else? They've lost Connolly. Is there any other players been announced or?
I think there's been some rumored. I saw Ralph was rumored to move away. Obviously, we take those with a pinch of salt, but
Yeah,
with the
we're
way
just
things are
trying to
going,
see how
it's
Raiders go, but no signing announcements, just leaving announcements. I hope that they can keep a good part of that team. 'Cause they had a good team.
yeah, they did have a very, very good team. As you said, Connolly leaving the Raiders, he's gone back to his home team, in the league below, the Invicta Dynamos. And Charlie, he's going to tear that league apart, isn't he? Really? He was a valuable English player in this league, or Brit in this league. And he's now going to be playing in the league below, in his hometown. You could see why he's done it because obviously there's more to life than hockey, and he's moved back home, and he's going to be able to be with family. He should tear that league apart, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a bad player, a treble winning captain in the league below at 28, 29 years
That is
old.
like prime age as well.
How old is he?
But yeah, he is.
Probably
That is a massive loss, man. Your
30
captain.
years old.
Oh,
Just come off the back of, he only scored 48 points in the National League, but
only that's still very good.
yeah, but that was a bad year for him. He scored 64 the year before. EPL level, scored nearly a point a game. Yeah, good luck, National One. Luck.
It's looking. I'll tell you what, though, the league below. I know we don't talk about it much, but the league below is actually looking much more improved. You've got Slough who's looking to improve, Invicta, Chelmsford who obviously won the playoffs last year. You got Streatham who won the little Coventry game. So that is going to be very competitive next season. You can see the teams trying to
Good
build up.
opportunity for some British goalies to develop there.
Yes, and I was actually surprised that Tyler LaBouche didn't go for a team or get a contract from a team in the league below. I don't know. Maybe he is going to get quite a few minutes at Bristol. Right, let's move on to Milton Keynes because they've signed a few players, and I know we talked about Cam Hamill earlier, but they have signed his brother Carter Hamill, who got more minutes out of the two brothers, didn't he?
Carter Hamill, yeah, he is a very good player. He's that type of player you want on every team.
Yeah. He's a gritty forward. He's scored a wow, actually, looking at his stats, 21 points last season in only 35 games. So he wasn't actually playing in all the games for Milton Keynes, but when he was, I think he was the one where it come off his head, wasn't it? In that game we played against Milton Keynes.
So lucky.
It was quite a jammy goal. Lawrence just pings in, it hits his helmet and goes in. But
before he tipped it, I went off his head. I said, I haven't seen a luckier goal than that in my life. Shutout. Just blast it from the point. Hits Carter Hamill's head. Goes straight in the net and he celebrates. So I'm like, oh.
But we won that game and we got to Coventry. So that's all that matters. But on a real, I think he is actually one to look out for next season. He got 3 goals, 2 assists in the 5 games for the GB under-20s as well. And if he for example, he only played 35 games. You get about 54 games, 56 games in the National League. If he'd have played all 56, I think he could have easily got 30, near 40 points in the league. So I think he's going to be a big piece to Milton Keynes, especially with a few players which might be leaving. Right, next for Milton Keynes, we have Gulliver. And he didn't really get an opportunity last season, did he? He had a big injury. He came back to the back end of last season. We know what he's like. We know what he can do. He was really, really good at the Raiders. And yeah, I think he's going to be a piece which Milton Keynes didn't really have last season.
Nah, if he can stay fully fit, I'm sure he'll be over a point a game.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Ben Solder as well. Again, he got an injury at the back end of last season. And I actually think it didn't get really spoken about, but I think it was a very big miss for Milton Keynes in the playoffs, having that calm head of Ben Solder. And he's still quite young. We know what he's like in this league. He's played in the Elite League as well for Manchester. He's signed for Milton Keynes, so I think that's a very positive signing. And especially, I think it's very big for them because they've lost Christie and Green. He's getting older. He's only going to get better. He can turn into one of those, I guess, one of those leaders in that defense, Charlie.
Yeah, I think he's got to step up another level this year.
Yeah.
But I think Ben Solder's really underrated in the league. I think he's probably in the top 15 British D-men in the league. Very, very probably near top 10. Definitely pushing for the top 10 British D-men in the league. Very, very good defensively, good two-way game, and yeah, he was a huge miss at the back end for MK.
Yeah. It'll be interesting though. Milton Keynes still haven't signed the D-men to replace Christie and Green. If they do, because we know they do have some younger talents. The next signing, probably the worst kept secret in the National League, and it has finally been announced. Finn Ulrich to Sheffield. He gets that two-way with the Steelers, which he had last season, but he's playing with the Sheffield Steel Dogs, which I assume will be the predominant amount of games this season. Very, very good signing. Second top point scorer of Hull last season. Charlie, it was a big loss for Hull, but that's a very big add for Sheffield.
Yeah, I think you said it well there. Yeah, the Sheffield Steelers links coming in now, and I'm sure they'll have a couple more big signings to come.
Yeah, well, we've got Jamie McElroy, who's the journalist for Sheffield, who has the little announcements the day before saying it's a big signing. I'm sure he knows that Sheffield are going to sign a few big boys and cause a few little rumbles around the league, getting some of the players, because it is a big opportunity for some of these younger players to be able to go to Sheffield and get some elite league links. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's any more younger players who joins them. I think that is pretty much it. The last one I've got on my list is a Swindon Wildcats player, and that is Reed Sayers, who has re-signed with Swindon. Again, like Owen, he just keeps improving every season. I'm going to get his stats up now. I believe I made his little announcement, but in his last couple seasons, he's got 54 points with the team, and he's been playing really a third line role, hasn't he, Charlie? And he's been able to get decent points for Swindon.
Yeah, another year for him to step up, improve, take his game up another level, and slowly start establishing himself potentially in the Swindon top six in the future. So yeah, an exciting year. I think the injury was at a bad time this season, but I'm excited to see how Reed Sayers develops even more.
He is, for me, and I know we watch him week out, so we're probably a bit biased, but stick handling wise, he is absolutely nasty. Some of the dangles he does on some of these older players, he just makes them look silly. And I think the end product and getting the more points will just come over time because he's still only 23 years old. And as you said, he did get that injury at the back end of last season, and he's got the whole summer to shake that off. Right. We've talked about a lot of signings. I know last week when I was with Dad and Dan, we thought we had a lot of signings to cover then. We haven't even got an interview in this episode because there were so many signings. Obviously, the big talking point of the import goalkeeper. Charlie, have you got any predictions on what teams might sign an import goalkeeper? I know we touched on it.
I think there's only unless the Bees goalie goes to Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Bees goalie's name?
Priest.
Priest either goes to Bristol or Bees for me.
Yeah.
Whichever team doesn't get Priest,
yeah,
I think potentially could go down the import route.
Wow. Okay, so that is your prediction. I agree with you.
And my prediction is Malazinski will be the best player in the National League next season.
Okay, I thought we got for a whole podcast without you mentioning Mr. Malazinski.
And yeah, GB going down.
Sorry, we forgot to mention that.
I'd mention this. My little, maybe, I don't know if it's a prediction, but GB going down means they won't be playing against the top teams next year, which you never know could lead to potentially maybe a couple of the older GB players saying, I'm not too fussed about getting in the GB squad next year because we're not in the top division. Maybe I'll drop down to the National League. So maybe, fingers crossed from the National League, because to be honest, not a huge fan of the Elite League. I hope some of them big boy Brits come down to the National League and take it up another level again.
Yeah, it's a good point. It is a very good point, and all they have to do is look at Matty Hayward. They have to look at Luke Ferrara. those two have absolutely loved playing in our league. They are getting top line roles. They're getting top line power play minutes. They're getting 100+ points in this league, and they're being legends of their
They're
team
scoring penalty shootout winners in
to
Coventry.
win the Coventry finals. What more would you want? Elite League players. If we have any Elite League players who listen to this, and you're like, oh, you know what, I fancy a change. Come
Just sign
down
for
to the
Swindon
National
Wildcats.
League.
Sign for Swindon Wildcats. No other team, just Swindon Wildcats.
Now, on a real,
I want to see them in our league.
yeah, and maybe even I know sounds wacky, but import goalkeepers. It might they might look at some of these older English players might go, oh, you know what? It'll be still going to be a challenge going to the National League with these import netminders. So yeah, let us know in the comments. Obviously, it's been a massive debate online with the import netties. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Make sure you leave a like. We'll try and get a couple of interviews. We tried to arrange a couple, but actually a few players have been going to Prague to watch these World Championships. So we'll try and get an interview or two in the next week or two. I probably would say, next week we probably won't have as many sign-ins, but the way it's gone this week, I'm sure we'll have plenty more. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I don't know if Dan will be on next week, but it's been quite
currently
nice.
on a cruise, if you're wondering. He's going around I think Greece and another country, and he's on a nice cruise. He sent me a photo. He's
nice.
got loads of food. He's going to get really fat, and he's going to have a great.
I'm staying up tonight actually to watch the Oilers versus the Canucks, Game 7. Come on, the Oilers! Come on, Oilers!
Get
it done.
I know you're listening to some.
And I have actually booked a holiday to Tenerife with my mates next month. So on that week, we might not get a
That's
podcast.
Unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Jack McCarthy's missing a podcast.
Oh, what? And Charlie didn't last week. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye-bye.